I would say, you see, that the analogy with phenomenology is only apparent, because here we have a peculiar ontology which we could define with respect to phenomenology, para-ontology. That's an ontology which has still to be thought. So because the problem here is that it's not the phenomenon as such which is as a phenomenon perceived and seen, only by means of the example, which is a kind of a strange movement beside. It opens a space, it's shown not itself in itself, but beside itself. This para is the essential problem of the example. So we have to invent what I would define a para-ontology. So paradigm, paradoxos, it's still to be defined. It's a kind of like Jarry pataphysique. Jarry defines pataphysique and what adds itself to metaphysics. Here we have what is beside metaphysics, para-ontology. So I think the problem is different, because all the problem, it's not simple, but it is the problem of this being shown beside, and not the immediate knowability of the shows of the thing itself. So all the problem is this para, beside being.
This para is then a kind of a traitor to the phenomenon.
In a way.
For example, this table.
Yeah, it's the space beside the phenomenon. So the phenomenon has a space beside it, and this is the essential point.
Yeah, okay, take your table. This table, if you want to describe it as a phenomenon, we can go on and just try to recognize what's not seen, etc. But if you take this table as an example, you steal the phenomenon from this table. You put it.
But as I try to show, it is no more a table. It is excluded from the class to which it belongs.
Right.
No, if you consider this table as an example of a table, it is no more a table, and still it's a table. So.
All right. Okay, good. So, wait. As you know, the rules are, we have rules here, no? A few. The rules are that the students from the class who have not been in his class should ask the first question. If I don't have volunteers, I get some, okay? So don't think because you...
And the other are excluded. The one in the class...
But the other had time to ask you already. So we have them. And secondly, I encourage again the professors to say something, especially we have to see if Sam Weber can still has
no voice.
Back, because we kind of got his voice and now he cheated us by not hearing any anymore. So, all right, also, students from the second year have not been in his class, and professors are the first to ask him questions. I recognize it's not easy to ask questions after such a talk, because it is logic, epistemology. It's very hard to find a connection to. The question is, why is there still war and not peace in the world? No? So, but try.
While they're waiting, I'll try to see if my voice will hold up.
Okay.
First of all, thank you. I almost felt as if I was listening to the talk I didn't give in some ways, because there were so many interesting conversions. What I would have
I did it on purpose.
I would like to talk about also I Swear as a speech act in Act 1 of Hamlet and so on. So anyway, I want to thank you for at least bringing that up. There are so many things, I just limit myself to one point that imposes itself. The term knowability in English is very unusual. I'm very happy to hear it, because I'm one of the few up to this point that have tried to introduce it into academic language, namely as an interpretation and translation of Benjamin.
Erkennbarkeit.
Which the author, which the editors of the Harvard edition prefer to translate as recognizability. No. And I don't agree. And in listening to you, as you well know, the particular phrase that Benjamin uses there, particularly in his work on the Passagenarbeit, is to talk about the now of knowability. And the now is there in terms of the historian's obligation to introduce a radical rupture and break in the historical continuum. And this, of course, changes the whole pattern of what historical knowledge, I think, can be. Now, in listening to you, I began to think, since the crucial demonstration that I think you're developing has, as you said again and emphasized just now, has to do with the para, with the neben, the à côté, the écart, the X of the exhibition, favorable exposition, and so on. The way the example exhibits, exposes its singularity, sets up a relation, which is a singular relation, and so on. I was just wondering whether the Benjaminian idea there of tying that to the now, which is a spatial temporal category, but also as desubstantializing it, dematerializing it, making it into an interruptive relational category, a radical break or something, whether that could in any way be complementary to some of the thoughts you do. Because it strikes me that what you're saying is, it might be very useful for going back and reading Benjamin, who doesn't use the term, but who operates in a way that might be somewhat similar to this paradigmatic thinking.
Yeah, I think that you are right. No? Perhaps one could try to read the Benjamin conception of the now of knowability, or it also says the now of leesibility, Leserbarkeit. What's at stake for him there, no? It's in his criticism of the historicism, it's always that the historical object is always made by a constellation between a moment of the past and a moment of the present. So in the now of knowability or leesibility, always there is this constellation between the moment of the past and the moment of the present. And perhaps we could try to think the relationship, this constellation, the relation between the moment of the past and the moment of the present, perhaps as a paradigmatic relationship. I'm sure it is analogical, like the paradigm is analogical. So yes, I think it could help to better understand Benjamin's conception. No? This relationship could be a paradigmatic relationship in a way.
And what about the other aspect, the paradigmatic relationship being a historical relationship in the sense that Benjamin is then temporalizing or historicizing?
Yeah, absolutely. No, for Benjamin, this is also a paradigm on what he calls messianic time. No? And perhaps also the messianic time works in the same way. You know? There is, again, a constellation between a moment of the past, for instance, in the history of the Jews, and a moment of the messianic time. No? The Paul's defines always with the term o nun kairos, the now time. There is a strong analogy between Benjamin's conception of Jetztzeit and Paul's conception of o nun kairos. It's literally the same term, the now time. And perhaps this relationship in messianic, in Paul and messianic and medieval interpretation, it's a typological interpretation. No? The moment of the past is the typos, the figure, the foreshadowing of the moment of the messianic present. But then perhaps there could be an analogy between paradigm and typos. It's very easy. Probably it's the same. No? The relationship, the typological relation between a moment of the past and the history of the Jew and the moment of the messianic present is clearly a paradigmatic one. No? So Adam as typos of the Messiah is a paradigm of the Messiah. So I think that perhaps there is a strong relationship then. It could be, it's a good suggestion, I think.